What is up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Straight Edge Wrestling Podcast. This week in wrestling, May 16th edition. And actually, I've really quite enjoyed this week in wrestling, I won't lie. There's been a lot of news. The shows have actually been pretty decent this week.
It started off with a big bang, but
yeah. It started off about as big as it possibly could. I mean, and then the shows have all been pretty good. Not groundbreaking, but probably I actually reckon this has probably been the best week of empty arena wrestling where all three shows kind of delivered.
AEW still got room for a big space to improve.
It's definitely better than what they have been doing.
But I definitely preferred the show this week compared to the last sort of month, 2 months.
Yes, absolutely. So let's kick off with Raw. So obviously we spoke about Raw on Becky Lynch on a separate video, but we'll quickly go over it again. So obviously Becky comes out with the Money in the Bank briefcase and she relinquishes the Women's Championship to Asuka because she's pregnant.
Asuka was the star in that.
Asuka stole the show.
Basically, it was Asuka's reaction that brought a tear to my eye because I saw part of the replay of it earlier on today. And it brought a tear to my eye when Asuka's reaction.
You see how genuine she was, mother? Because she goes, that was great. The video package they played on SmackDown with Becky, actually that I got
actually
quite
that was it. I was watching SmackDown. It's just her reaction. You're like that. Oh.
Yeah, no, I thought that the video package they played for Becky was really cool. But yeah, no, Asuka stole the show for that. And then throughout the night you had different bits with Becky. You know, she went and had an audio-free meeting with Vince, which was rather odd, but whatever. All the baby faces came and congratulated her. And Asuka's the new women's champion. And Asuka and Kairi Sane had a little moment in the back, which was quite funny. They've made the best out of what is for them a bad situation, but is for Becky a very good situation.
Yeah. Although if you look at Seth, he seems to have mixed emotions about it.
Yeah. We have Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's clearly getting some kind of a push here.
Yeah, he does seem, and he deserves it.
I mean, they've sat on him for I don't even know how long he's been back now. A few years. They've sat on him and done nothing with him for a few years. But no, he seems to be getting some kind of push.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it. And it seems like he might be joining the MVP crew.
Yeah. So MVP's obviously getting his own little gang together, which is kind of cool.
So, which ain't a bad thing because MVP not actually being in the ring isn't the end of the world. He's so much more better on the mic.
Oh God, yeah. I don't need to see MVP wrestle anymore. Just let him talk and let him stand behind people and put them over. Why not?
I'll be happy because it's a missed opportunity with MVP just to manage people.
Oh, absolutely. Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
It'd be freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
And it does seem like Paul Heyman does want to be doing more stables on Raw, which I'm all for.
That's a Paul Heyman sort of staple, is using stables. And the thing is, you can use MVP quite well, like using him with Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink, like, you know, they're new young guys. They get that rub from a vet and who can talk for them. We've not really heard them speak that much, but he's probably better than they are. I'm not trying to shoot them down, but he's very good. So he can talk for them. But talking of other stables, we're getting some kind of dissension in the ranks of Zelina Vega's gang during the Angel Garza Akira Tozawa match. There's some
they just bullied the more paler one. That was it.
Yeah, Austin Theory's always the brunt of everything.
Well, he thinks he's the big shot. He's the newest one to the group, so you've got to keep him in place.
You've got to slap him around a bit and let him make sure he knows where he is.
Well, if you got someone like Drew, you ain't got to slap him around yourself.
That's true. And then, so we had Angel Garza versus Akira Tozawa. We then had Drew McIntyre against Andrade. Drew obviously winning, and it's all just sort of building up between Drew and Zelina's crew and the slow breakup of Zelina's crew.
I don't know if you get a breakup of the crew.
I think they're hinting at it. They're just hinting at it.
But, you've got to go through the weather the storm. This could just be one of those things where they look like it might fall apart, but they'll get better for it.
I think every week they sort of hint more and more at the idea that there's a lot of infighting. I hope they don't do it too soon because they've really not been together all too long.
No, they've been with all of them in it probably about 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So, but WWE does have a habit of pulling the rug out from under them very quickly on these sort of things.
Yeah, well, no, you mean Vince does.
Yeah, yeah. When I say WWE, what I mean is Vince. Yeah. So we had the Iconics returned.
I could talk about these guys for hours.
Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were out there doing a moment of bliss, and the Iconics came back, which was a surprise to just about everyone.
Thing it could happen for wrestling right now.
Yeah, it was a surprise for everyone because it's been reported for a long time that they're being repackaged, that they'll be back in the summer. This is great. They needed this.
Why would you need to repackage the Iconics?
You didn't. They're perfectly fine as they were.
So fucking entertaining.
Yeah, online, they're one of the most over tag teams. Yeah, I know in the stadiums and whatever, they're not as over because they've never really been given the chance. But online, they've been doing some great shit for a long time now. And if they actually let them do that on television a lot more, they'd be the best thing on the show, without a doubt.
Who knows? Maybe they're going to get their push now. Now that they just beat the women's tag team champion.
Yeah. Yeah, so and
it was Alexa Bliss that they beat as well. So.
Yeah, which is very rare. They don't normally do that. Normally Nikki takes the pin, which is good. So the Iconics are back, which is good because they don't really have many female tag teams. They just sort of throw a couple of females together. They win the title for a month and then they do it again. So yeah, it's good.
You want about one? So
we had Monday Night Basketball between the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. This was
actually, I really enjoyed that. I like the whole thing where it went from the thing. It went through them just being there in the locker room to warming up, to then playing the game, and then the Viking Raiders showing them up at the end.
Yeah, it was so goofy. I loved it. I did like it. It's just the Viking Raiders confused the hell out of me though, because they go from 1 week, doing carpool karaoke to then being deadly serious to then playing basketball. I think WWE here was like, hey, there's no basketball or other sports on TV. How can we corner the market of all sports?
That's the whole thing they were in with the announce.
Yeah,
on Raw.
Exactly. Hey, you want basketball? We're giving you everything you want.
Next week there'll be WWE's version of the XFL.
Please yeah. Vince can just play the XFL out on his on Raw. So we had Shayna Baszler defeated Natalya. Shayna Baszler also cut a great promo on Becky Lynch before this, where she basically said that the kid was going to be stupid, and we all know who the father is, and that's why it's going to be a bit stupid.
Well, yeah, the father was having a fucking breakdown on the show because he found out it hit home. So you could say it was Drew they want, but really it all hit home that he was becoming a father.
Of course, we have Rey Mysterio and Alistair Black defeating Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy via disqualification. So Seth comes out looking like Thor from the latest Avengers game. He's bloating his stomach out. Purposefully bloating his stomach out so he doesn't have a good body, and he's thrown his hair all over the place. That's clearly what the look he's going for. He's going for overweight Thor from Endgame, and he's just distraught throughout the entire match. And the match ends essentially after Seth Rollins tries to murder Rey Mysterio.
No, blind him in one eye.
Gouge his eyes
blind
out.
Him in one eye. No, blind him in one eye.
I would say that falls under very close to attempted murder. When you're
not really. You're trying to blind someone. That's not attempted murder. But it's from serious fault. He asked for it. He just hit Seth Rollins for no reason.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't ask for like his head being pushed into a steel step. Ray had a hard 24 hours.
He's distraught. He's just realised he's just hit him that he's having a kid.
Ray had a tough 24 hours. He got thrown off the roof of Titan Tower, which WWE say fell 6 foot. 6 foot being thrown off Titan Tower is still a big old drop.
This is bullshit because they fucked it up.
Mm.
They fucked it up because, fair enough, they were doing the pans out through the night, which is fine. But when you was in the match and that just happened, don't then just pan out a couple of minutes after. Is what you see is where they put all the padding from where they land.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? Don't do that in the match. Just don't do that. You just fucking ruin your whole effect.
Yeah. And also bear in mind, this was edited 3 weeks ago. This was recorded 3 weeks ago. It wasn't live. The fact they didn't see that is laughable. It really is. But yeah,
that irritated me for the Money Bank. But I tell you one thing, I really did love in Money in the Bank match.
What?
Was Corbin's face through the fucking weight at the mirror.
Oh yeah, like, oh no, I'm going to have to pay for that. It was.
I freaking loved that bit.
It was. It was like he's like, shit, I'm going to get 7 years of bad luck now.
I don't think that wasn't what he was worried about. It was Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're going to be moving, aren't they? So let's have Baron come in and just trash shit. So
everyone trashed that.
Yeah, we ended Raw with Edge and Randy Orton. I don't know why.
I don't think Edge knows why, because in his part of the promo, it was over with.
And so they seem to have got this back to front. Usually, what happens with storylines is we start with a wrestling match. And then we go on from there to the last man standing match or to the Hell in a Cell, whatever. We don't start with the last man standing match and then have the normal wrestling match. That just seems a bit of a anticlimax. I thought the WrestleMania end was fine.
What I also find funny is that Randy Orton thinks he's a better wrestler than Edge.
Yeah. Do you know what's really awkward about that? Was at the end, they just had Charlie Caruso stand there and say that it was going to be the best wrestling match ever. I mean, it's not, is it? And also, it just seemed a bit awkward.
That takes away from Shawn Michaels and Undertaker's match at WrestleMania.
I don't know. It just seemed really awkward. Like, I don't know why they made her say that, but I'm sure it'll be a fine match at Backlash. But I feel like, I don't know, it's just a kind of a waste of time. We've seen what really would have been the climax, because I don't know how they top them battering each other for 45 minutes around the Performance Center. But
a 5-minute wrestling match.
A 5-minute wrestling match, yeah, in front of no fans. That's how you top it. But anyway, we have AEW Dynamite. Lots of good, lots of okay, some bad on the show. But I enjoyed it overall.
I'll say the thing that I really enjoyed, they have started to add some more story in progress. Yeah. They need to do an awful lot more, but they've started to add a bit more.
I'll say one thing about the generic overview of the show, which I thought was such a good idea. They microphoned the audience so that you could hear the audience when people were in the ring, and you could hear them. Even though there was only like 50 people there, it sounded like a lot more because they mic'd them and they had the levels so that it sounded like there was more people there. That was such a little touch, which when I was watching it, I was thinking, actually, that adds quite a bit to it, because you could hear them booing Jake when he was doing his promo and stuff. And I really quite liked that. I thought it just added something to it. But yeah, so the show starts and we have a great promo, I think, from Jake Roberts after the Lance Archer's match. A very good, like, old school heel promo, which WWE wouldn't come near. This is our ring, and I don't think women have a place in it anymore. And I thought, I like that. You don't get that anymore. Like, basically, Brandy should be in the kitchen. Oh God! And I thought that was.
But she is. Great. I've seen her on YouTube.
She literally hosts a show on YouTube in the kitchen. Yeah, yeah. I thought that was great. I thought Jake was good, and then it kind of went a bit weird.
Yeah, because it was pathetic entry from Cody. Yeah, where they should have filmed it of him driving right into that spot instead of rev the engine, wheel spin, and drive 5 foot.
Yeah, so you hear the engine revving, obviously knowing it's going to be Cody, and we pan out and Cody's just sat there revving the engine, and then he just drives like 8 foot into a barricade and jumps out. It really wouldn't have been hard. He should have driving around the corner.
He should have He just should have revved the engine and just got out.
He shouldn't have done that. That would have been even worse. Like, that would have made him look even more stupid. Like, because then it looks like he just got in the car, revved it, and got back out again, which is what he did do. But they It would have been so much easier to do like the old Stone Cold thing, where they would follow Austin in his truck outside and then have him hit into the barrier and then the same thing. Instead, it just looked like he parked his truck 8 foot away from the barrier, got in it, revved a little bit, drove into the barrier lightly, and then got out. But after
that is
exactly what he did. Yeah, obviously that wasn't supposed to be what it looked like, but they just didn't do it very well. After that, I thought it was good. I thought the brawl between them two was good. I said this last week, and I'll say it again because it's my biggest pet peeve in wrestling is heels running away. And I like the fact that this time Lance Archer didn't run away. Jake pulled him away because that's my biggest pet peeve is heels running away. Vince Russo cut a big promo on that this week about if you're in the professional wrestling business, you should never be running away unless you give a reason. I'm not being paid to fight you right now, so I'm not going to be here because otherwise it makes you look like a coward. And when
how Chris Jericho does his one. I ain't got time for this shit right now.
Yeah, exactly. Jericho cuts a promo as he's running away like a little bitch. He doesn't just run away like what Seth Rollins tends to do. Is just sort of run away for no reason.
Seth. He's having a hard enough time right now, all right?
Yeah, I think that was who I moaned about last week when I moaned about Seth running away. And yeah, so I like the fact that Jake pulled him back. I thought that was really good.
Well, yeah, it's like the Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar style thing, really. Yeah.
Exactly, that was it. And like Paul Heyman would constantly say about Brock, he's a prize fighter. He ain't getting paid to fight today, so he ain't fighting today. That sort of thing. And Paul Heyman be like, not today. We've got a bigger day, and all that sort of stuff. Like those things, I think, just add something which doesn't make Lance Archer look like a.
Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what Paul Heyman said. Brock Lesnar would, if he wanted to, would go do it.
Yeah, which also helps Brock look like a badass. We have Mike Tyson is going to be presenting the TNT Championship to the winner of Lance Archer versus Cody, which is
a bit random.
I'll say this: huge get for AEW because Mike Tyson is all over the news right now because he's returning to boxing. It's like the biggest.
That's the whole different story.
Yeah, but let's think all last week. His videos of him training where he looks like he's a freaking 20-year-old again, which is scary. I've been all over online, getting tens of millions of views, and then AEW managed to get him in, just as the Evander Holyfield Tyson 3 fight is being talked about.
Yeah, but I think that's more to benefit Tyson as well because it will be more promo for him.
Yeah, fine. That's good. Anything, if it gives AEW some eyeballs, good for Tyson, good for AEW. That's good. I know there's going to be lots of people that are going to go out there and be like, they're just doing it because WWE did it back in the 90s. And it's like, maybe they are, but also, if it works, who gives a shit?
But no, Tyson was, you can't compare the two. Tyson in that one was involved in the storyline.
Yeah.
This one, he's coming out to give a belt.
Yeah. There was a lot of rumors before Tyson was announced that it was going to be Sting that was going to be.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, obviously it was unfounded because after Sting was released from his contract last week, so there was lots of rumors that it was going to be Sting.
Sting might show up and try and cheap shot Tyson.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sting does turn up at some point. Not Tyson. Jesus Christ, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Sting. Jesus. But yeah, we will see Sting, I reckon, at some point. And
back on TNA, yeah. Oh no, I mean Impact.
Impact, yeah. Well, it looks like they're going back to the TNA name. Jesus, they keep on running all that stuff.
Fucking need to. I miss TNA.
But anyway, we have in AEW. Is there anything else you want to talk about before I talk about the sort of the end segment?
No, not really. I'm so sorry for Matt Hardy.
So the AEW closes with Chris Jericho versus Pineapple Pete. And obviously Jericho wins. And after the match, Jericho starts cutting a promo saying that at Double or Nothing, they're going to have a Stadium Stampede match, the Elite versus the Inner Circle. And that Stadium Stampede match is going to be, obviously it's going to be in TIAA Field, which is the Jacksonville Jags stadium next door to where they're currently filming. And they're going to have an empty stadium brawl of some kind.
It's really XFL, isn't it?
Yeah, they're just going to start at different ends. Oh god, if they don't start at different ends of the field and charge each other, then it's what a waste of time.
I'll tell you what, though, I did like the way they finally acknowledged about Hangman Page.
Hangman Page, yeah. So it's like he was like, "What are the elite even around anymore?" Hangman Page is off in the woods somewhere, and the Young Bucks are twiddling their thumbs. Yeah, finally.
Which is irritating me about Kenny. You know, he's tag team partner with the tag team championship. Doesn't even wear his tag team championship. You don't even see the AEW. Where's the AAA championship?
Of course.
But then doesn't ever even want to mention about his tag team partner and replaces him with Matt Hardy.
I just feel like they were trying to pretend as though the tag team belts don't exist while Hangman wasn't going to be coming in to wrestle. I just kind of assumed that they were trying to think that, look, if we just pretend they don't exist for now, people will forget about them, which is such a WWE thing. But it's the only way I can think about it, because they haven't mentioned them at all. But
no.
Yeah, they finally acknowledged Hangman is alive and that the Bucks are coming back. And we don't know what a Stadium Stampede match is, but Jericho said that if you thought the street fight last week was something, then this is going to be even bigger. And then
more golf clubs.
More golf carts.
Yeah.
So we had he obviously made the offer, and Vanguard 1 came down, accepted the offer, and then Jericho with his new friend Floyd the Bat, battered the shit out of Vanguard 1.
I forgot it was called Floyd.
It was called Floyd. I even went back to make sure I got his name right. So, and also there was a great bit in there between Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross where they were like, Jericho's losing the plot. He thinks he speaks drone, and he battered the living shit out of Vanguard 1, as they all did.
Vanguard 1 made it through so many wrestling shows.
I know. I can't wait to see what the new modified version of it's going to be. I hope it's like a military-grade drone.
It's going to have some Gatling guns and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, I hope it's like military-grade with like missile launchers on the side.
I'm pretty sure in one of their versions they had lasers shooting out of it.
Yeah, they did.
I can't remember if that was in one of the WWE ones or if it was one of the weird TNA ones.
I think it may have. Yeah, I think it may have been the Impact House of Hardy one. Yeah, so
there were several of them.
Yeah. So that's Dynamite. Dynamite was pretty good. I did quite like it. I like I said, I like the opening. I like the close. They got to work on that bit in the middle. That's kind of where they lose you.
As I say, I'm liking that they've started this week, and hopefully they carry on. And they've improved the story.
Yes.
They just need to do a lot more improvement in that area.
Yeah, I'm very bored of matches which don't mean anything being on.
Well, it's not even that so much. It's more if you're not part of the elite or in the main card right now.
You don't
WCW. It's very WCW right now.
I heard
there's no story for you.
I heard Eric Bischoff say the same thing on 83 Weeks. Eric Bischoff said the same thing. It's very, very NWO versus WCW at the moment, and then all the people that weren't part of one of those two factions basically just get lost in the shuffle. It is very, very true.
Which is a shame, because at least they were doing a little bit of character building for all those people that were there.
Yeah, I mean, before this went down, we all sort of got to love Darby Allin. They just started building like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy and stuff, and then it was like, and MJF's really been not. He's lost so much steam during all this.
But for MJF, it won't take long to get him back.
No. Once he's in front of a live crowd again, it'll be fine.
But they just need to be working on that mid card, lower card, and they need something to be fighting for as well.
Yes, which was the point of the TNT belt, but now it's like, if it goes to Cody, then I don't know. Then it's just going to be lots of these guys losing to Cody for a while.
The thing is, it's not quite. I'm on about like your lower card one. They need like that European-ish
that's kind of the point
kind of stuff.
That's kind of the point of their TV title. Because
this seems more like it's going to be the Intercontinental style.
Yeah, it's Intercontinental US. It's like WWE's secondary title. This is their secondary title for their mid-carders. It's kind of the point.
Yeah, but for where they are at the moment with their thing, I feel like they could do with one more like European style belt, which is aimed for the lower lot, because they have a lot of people. They're not doing anything with them. A lot of them are a lot lower than I think they realise.
They can't even manage their tag belts or their women's division, so they cannot deal with a third men's belt. Like they can't. They're dealing very badly with the 3 belts they've currently got. Let's be real.
Because Khan's doing a great job in creative.
Yeah. Anyway, on SmackDown, we opened up with Miz TV and Otis, which was something. I quite enjoyed this. There was lots of fat jokes to Otis, basically.
Otis don't care.
Yeah, and Otis had a pit of himself.
He needs to stop humping that freaking money in the briefcase.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, when he's got a girlfriend like Mandy, I don't understand why he's humping a briefcase.
Well, I think he was like pretending it was Mandy, And
he doesn't need to pretend, though. That's the problem.
He said he has Bratwurst inside the briefcase. The Miz gets angry at it, saying that he fought for that contract, and yet Otis is using it as a lunchbox, and challenges him to a tag match and to get Tucker, but he says Tucker couldn't be there as he's got dysentery for whatever reason.
I was wondering where Tucker was really, because he forgot about for a while.
So it was then Otis's job to try and find a tag team partner, and SmackDown did a good job here of having Otis go backstage and speak to people, and they used the story throughout the night. And he went and saw Sheamus, and Sheamus turned him down. And then Otis went and spoke to Mandy, and then eventually he went and spoke to Braun Strowman, who said, "Well, we'll see," basically. And then we started the Intercontinental title tournament. It starts with Elias versus King Corbin. I hate this. That's as honest as I can be. I hate it. I hate every second of it. I couldn't care less about Elias and King Corbin wrestling. I couldn't care about either of them being the IC type champion.
Never thought you would have shat on Elias so much.
What, they've done nothing with him. I love Elias. They've done nothing with him. All they've had him do is be on and off feuding with Corbin for a year. I just don't care.
I'll tell you what, though. I was surprised. I never realised Elias actually had theme music.
I feel like they changed it because I actually noticed it for the first time this week as well. So I feel as though that was new.
It wasn't him walking down. It was after he pretty much after the match when he won.
Yeah,
he had no guitar to play.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was new because I actually recognised it. I actually paid attention to it for the first time ever. We then had some sort of various video packages. We had another hacker video package, which I quite like. I quite like the hacker stuff. Forgotten Sons.
We already know who the hacker is, so let's just get it opened up.
Yeah, I mean,
the problem is at the minute, I wouldn't mind seeing them if they're going to add the hacker a little bit more into the show a bit better, instead of just showing you the same video over and over again like they did with the Mandy storyline.
Yeah, it's what WWE always does. They make a really good video package, so they just show it every week for 6 weeks. It's like,
because they could be doing something great where he's tormenting certain wrestlers, getting some heat when he, like with a wrestler or a couple of wrestlers when he comes back and has a storyline.
Yeah, but this is WWE's MO, isn't it? It's like they make some really cool, and it was. I really enjoyed the hacker stuff, and then they just show it over and over again with no new additions. But yeah, it is what it is. We had Charlotte Flair come out. I really liked this. I really liked all of this with Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha. I thought it was great. I thought every time Sasha went to speak, Bayley cut her off, and you could see Sasha's face getting progressively more annoyed. I thought it was great.
It worked well. We also to see how they fuck it up the end product to all this storyline, but
yeah, I'm all for this. Like, hey, we tore down the house all those years ago at NXT, so how about we do it again? I'm not a fan of this like re-envisioned wildcard rule and how on earth it's going to work. It's just
it's like I can't wait for next Friday to find out how they explain AJ Styles and how it works for him being in it, which they're apparently going to do. They're going to explain it next Friday with AJ being in the Intercontinental title tournament.
Yeah, who the hell knows? We have Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak for the IC title. Daniel Bryan wins, which
wasn't a great lover of this match because fair enough, they're both two very technical wrestlers, but there was way too much of it.
Way too much. We didn't have the main event.
Which is a shame because it could have been an amazing match.
Yeah. I don't think this sort of wrestling is very conducive to no audience, that sort of thing. Not for too long. I think for a very short period of time, it's good, and then it gets a bit like drags a little bit, I
also feel Drew was robbed a bit there as well because I feel like he deserved to go through.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. They've been building Drew for quite a while. Daniel doesn't really. I know he's got the name power, whatever, but it's like he doesn't need to be in that.
He don't need to be the belt. It'd be better at this point him being in Drew's corner and building him up.
Yeah, I agree. That's absolutely what they should have done. We then have our main event: Braun Strowman and Otis defeating Miz and Morrison.
I fucking love this, maybe because it was Braun's reaction. It was Braun's smile every time on his face when it comes to. He'd do the punch on him and he'd just shake it off in a little humpy shake. and they both laughter.
They both tried to do the caterpillar together.
Well, no, one did the caterpillar, the other one just sort of did a press and push himself back up in the air.
Yeah, it was something. It was something. So Otis done a lot of dancing around, and Braun done a lot of back the fuck away from me, basically.
I like the little at the end of the match. So Mandy comes down, then Otis thinks about it.
But that was SmackDown. So I mean, it was a pretty good weekend for wrestling. There was a lot of news though which came out this week. So we have the return after. On the 25th anniversary of In Your House, NXT is bringing it back. So NXT TakeOver In Your House is happening next month. I love the logo. I think it's great.
Is Shawn Michael going to jump off the house?
He better. Johnny Gargano tweeted out that gif of Shawn Michaels doing it, and he just put dibs. If they don't have that set up, they're missing a bit there. We then have the news that's come out so this week on the Undertaker's documentary on Sunday, it's going to show you that Vince McMahon gets quite emotional when talking about Undertaker. It's also going to show you that the camera crew was about to film the contract negotiations between Vince and Undertaker back from 2019, and Vince told the cameras to shut off. He didn't want the contract negotiations to be filmed. So that's all we're gonna see that tomorrow. I've had a synopsis of it given to me, and it turns out, as has now been leaked, Undertaker signed a 15-year deal with WWE when he done that last year. 15 years. Basically,
but he's more likely to be dead before the contract finishes.
Yeah. They're not going to use him as a wrestler for 15 years. They just want him to not go near anyone else, basically, for 15 years, which is fair enough. But 15 years. We also have news that Vince McMahon is, I'll say the word desperate for fans at SummerSlam. He's making all sorts of contingencies right now that he wants fans at SummerSlam one way or another. And Florida is going to start allowing some small fans back in very soon. So Vince is adamant he's going to have that.
You know what he should do? Invest in a shitload of iPads. Charge people to FaceTime in.
Yeah, just have a load of iPads on seats around the arena. And just, could you imagine being charged to FaceTime into a live show? But you know what? People would pay for it. That's the funniest thing. Yeah.
Problem is, all you're going to see though is the iPad in front of you. But
yeah, could you imagine? That'd be so funny.
You could just have a bunch of sticks getting higher and higher in the air, going backwards.
Yeah, just like an increased row of iPads
to the point all you can see is the ceiling.
Yeah, Jesus. We also have this week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring is going to be something quite special, I should think, because it's the Owen Hart episode.
Oh, is it?
So it's the last episode, Dark Side of the Ring, and it's covering obviously the death of Owen Hart, and it'll be the first time really that Martha Hart's spoken, and also Owen's son is on the documentary. So I reckon it's going to be very, very emotional.
Wow.
And very, very interesting.
With a big bang, and no one ended it with a big bang.
I think Darkside's done a lot of like really good things about like bringing people back together and answering lots of questions. I mean,
what they have got to do though, is because every time they do a documentary, and you have Vince Russo and Jimmy Cornette on the same one, it takes away from whoever they're doing a documentary on, where Jimmy Cornette for the last 10 minutes just shits on Vince Russo.
Yeah. Yeah, and
how can you make that a good product for yourself on that one?
Yeah, and it's a one-way street as well, because it's not Vince Russo's not shitting on Jim Cornette back. It's like, so that the show's actually done a lot of good. Not so much for Jim Cornette and Vince Russo, but
yeah, who gives a shit about Jimmy Cornette?
And on that note, join us next week for another episode of This Week in Wrestling. Please head on over and follow us on Twitter at SEW_podcast. It's up above. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and we will see you next time. We are